Today, I'm honored to welcome Д-р Консуело Касула. Д-р Касуla is a distinguished psychologist and psychotherapist based in Italy. She's an expert in clinical hypnosis, particularly in the Ericksonian approach. Former president of the European Society of Hypnosis, Д-р Касула integrates hypnotherapy with pragmatic, systemic, and strategic approaches. She's an author of several books and numerous articles on communication skills, metaphors, women's development, resilience, and hypnotic strategies. Her book on metaphors has been translated into multiple languages, including Spanish, Portuguese, French, and German. Welcome, Д-р Касула. It's a pleasure having you here today with us.
And also translating in English, then I show you the cover.
Oh, okay. So in English also.
Yes. So thank you very much for inviting me. Very curious, and I am excited to answer to your interesting questions. Thank you again for inviting me.
You are welcome. Can you please explain the significance of archetypes in psychotherapy and how they influence the unconscious mind?
Yes, because the archetypes are universal patterns. Each of us is embedded as incorporated during his or her life many archetypes coming from the ancient world. For instance, we study at the school, and I think that in each country people study archetype because they are universal characteristics of each person. It's not that we have only one archetype, but we can have inside of us, like several parts inside of us, these archetypes that are very deep in human beings, in humankind. They are like archaic knowledge passed through the generation from our ancestors because they are valid and they still give us meaning to our life. They can explain some phenomenon that happens to our life. Many of them belong to natural movement, belong to the phenomena that are still in the society, in groups, in politics. And when we know this archetype, we can understand better the dynamic between people, between friends, or between different countries. And the first psychologist, as far as we know, that talked about archetype was Jung. Jung was very interested in these universal images. He selected 12 archaic archetypes that are the innocent, the orphan, the rebel, the guardian angel, the magician, the hero, and the sage. But not only Jung was the first one, but after Jung, other authors cultivated more or less the same archetype. For instance, I have the Italian version. This author is Carol Persons, who wrote two books. One is The Hero Inside of Us. And in this book, the author selected 6 archetypes, which are the orphan, who look for trust, for safety, because orphan knows that by himself he cannot survive, needs a safe place and care and trust from another person. The explorer and the traveler is an archetype, so I think that is really universal, especially today that we like to travel and to see many countries and also to conquer the moon or other satellite. Explorer looks for freedom. looks for new experiences, be independent, look for his autonomy. The warrior, another archetype, very strong also in this special moment full of war. The warrior look for power, look for conquer, wants to dominate. The martyr look for love, look for responsibility, look for taking care of others, sacrifice. Martyr is one who sacrifices himself or herself for the sake of others. And then is the wizard, not only the Wizard of Oz that we think we know and we remember, they look for joy, for authenticity, balance between joy and pain. And the second book of the same author, Carol Persson, is Awakening the hero inside of us. And this book has a different structure because selects 12 archetypes and divided in 3 pieces. The first piece is the preparation of our journey of life. And for this preparation, we need we come from being innocent, naive, because we are still young, orphan, and we need to understand and trust other people. In the preparation of the journey, growing up, we can become warrior, and we need a guardian angel that protect us during the danger situation, during the challenges. Finished the first part of the preparation of the journey, it's the journey in itself, during which we become explorer. And when we are exploring, we can also become a destroyer. And we are both destroyer and creator. This is a very important, that sometimes in order to create something new, we have to destroy something that is not good enough, that is old, hindering us to grow, to develop, to empower. And then we create. So we pass through these phases during our journey, exploring, destroying, loving, creating something new. Then it's coming back at home. And during the coming back at home, we have developed other archetypes. We become king or queen, the ruler. We understood the need of rules, following the rules, follow some paths. And also discovering the magician part, that the magic thought is something that we can cultivate in all our during all age, not only when we are child. A magic thought means this is possible. I can do this. I don't need a magic wand, but with our imagination, we can become magicians. And this in archetype, because we create a world that doesn't exist now, but may exist in the future. But we need also to be wise, sage, and a little bit of foolish, because when we are foolish, we are more light. We don't take too serious some difficulties, because we trust in our own capacity to overcome the difficulties. Because the magic thought can accompany us, telling us, yes, you can. Virgilio, who is an author that we study in Italy, says they can because they think that they can. This is...
It's very interesting and inspiring, this representation of the journey of the hero, because every one of us is a hero of his or her own life. And actually, we are going through all these archetypes during our life. Very beautiful. And empowering. This thought that you shared, it's very empowering, the magic thought.
Yes, I believe that we need to think outside the box, to exercise our own creativity. And for creativity, I mean doing better what we already doing good. Expand our vision, expand our perspective. Keep going in studying new things, which is, I think, is what we are doing every day, that every day we are curious and we wanted to discover something new to improve our way of dealing with our life.
Let's hope we all stay curious.
Yes, yes.
How do cultural differences shape the way people resonate with certain archetypes in therapy?
Oh, yes. This is a fundamental. As you told us, to all the listener, I am Italian, and this means that I have embedded what I've studied in my school. And, since elementary school, we study the Greek mythology, Greek and Latin mythology, which is very fundamental for us. The book that I think every Italian knows is l'Odissea, l'Eneide, l'Iliade, la Divina Commedia, and they are full of archetypes. Achille, Ulisse, they are our friends. Penelope, the wife of Ulisse, is our friend. It's an archetype of a woman who stays at home waiting for the warrior to come back from the war, and she knows how to meet during the day and undo what during the day. So is still doing something to keep busy herself and the one who want conquer her kingdom. These archetypes are so important in our culture that we use in our daily language, because archetype belongs to each human being, and the importance is that when we recognize that we have more than one archetype, it's a limitation. So the importance is to gain also other models, so that we can be more soft, more flexible, and more rich, instead of having only one archetype, following only one archetype, because we can become very, very rigid and so full of limitation. So
I love that.
yeah, so of course, for instance, one example that I like to do is, and this is also an invitation to watch again two old movies, which are the Seven Samurai and the Magnificent Seven. I saw these two movies recently because I wanted to understand the differences in their culture. And it's so evident, it's so clear. Each of the seven samurai has a special character while in the Far West, in the cowboy, they are completely different, and they represent the Japanese samurai culture and the Western culture of the cowboy. That both they want to defend the small village who are not, we are farmer and not a warrior, but it's interesting to see the difference.
Yeah, I really love that. And I love the distinction between stereotype and archetype.
Yeah.
Because as Jung said, archetypes, they're all in the collective unconscious mind. So we all have reach, they're all in us.
Yes.
We all have them.
Yes.
And that's the beauty of it all. They're not stereotypes.
They're not stereotypes. Yeah. For instance, I used today with my patient that I saw before that he regarded himself as a warrior, and his brother suggested him to slow down, to be more patient. And he says that he is always the sword ready to fight. And I remind him that the samurai has the sword, but on his side, not in his hand, because the samurai knows very well to be calm and patient and use the sword only when it's necessary, not to always be ready with your sword to defend yourself. When you don't need to have the sword in your hand like the samurai.
And that's wisdom right there.
Yes, this is wisdom.
What inspired you to use metaphoric storytelling as a therapeutic tool, and how has this evolved over time for you?
Let me start with my first book.
Okay.
My first book is Porcupine Schopenhauer's. And this is a metaphor. If you don't know, I tell you. It's a metaphor written by Schopenhauer. Once upon a time, it was very cold, and the porcupine went too close, so they were aching each other. So they fell apart and they were cold. So they get closer, but they were aching each other, too far apart. They were cold until they found the right way to get warm and without aching it. So this metaphor is because the book is how to lead a group, how to work within, respecting each other, giving each other your knowledge, your empathy, your compassion, always in a collaboration mood, not in a competing mood. So I started with this book, and I discovered that when I was teaching or when I was working with the groups, they love a lot the metaphors, because the metaphors, they are engaging, they are attracting, and they think about the meaning of the metaphor. What are you telling me now? What is the hidden message that you are selling without being open in the message that you wanted to convey? So I discovered by myself that they were very happy in listening stories, and I discovered that the metaphor were very powerful. I remember one year that I proposed an exercise to a group, and one man, and this exercise had three phases: individual, small group, and then plenary. And I discovered that one man had the best result individually. But when he worked in the small group, he was shy. He was not showing his knowledge. He was not collaborating with others. So I told him that I discovered that. And then I told many metaphors on the advantages of collaboration. After, I think, 3 weeks, I went back to the same group, and one asked me, "What have you done to that man?" And I say, "Why?" "Because he's changed. Now he is very open, is collaborating, is sharing his knowledge, and is giving a lot of support to the group." And I say, this is the power of metaphors. Because it's like you show models in your story. You show worlds of possibility. It's like nudge is una spinta gentile. You don't push. You don't say you have to do this. And another way that I discover that the metaphors are power is because each of us use metaphors in their own way. If a patient says, "I have burden in my back, I feel I am very heavy," I say, "Oh, thank you. Let's do something. Let's please take from your shoulder the backpack and put in front of you so that now we look what is inside. What have you put in your backpack that is so heavy that you don't need anymore to have every day with you?" Another example that I like very much, a woman told me that when she's fighting with her husband, she feels like a jellyfish.
That's strange.
Yes, I say, "Sorry, I don't like this metaphor because it's the archetype, or not archetype, but the symbol of passive aggression. Because jellyfish, it hurts and can be also poisoning, can kill you." Can we select a metaphor more empowering? And she, after deepening this kind of, you have the power to defend yourself, you have the power to answer to your husband and say, "No, thank you, I don't like that." She's selected the surfer. Yes, it's fantastic metaphor because the surfer knows how to surf, knows the strength of the wave, looks for the wave to come, so enjoys going up to the wave and they coming down. This is like a preparation. You are an athlete if you are able to surf and you dominate the wave of the sea, the strength of the sea. It's completely different metaphor because this is empowering metaphor that so the person that recognize, I can prepare my, because usually our fights they have always the same pattern. That we are talking always about this. So if you prepare yourself as the surfer, prepare yourself for the big wave, you have another completely different method.
Yes, I believe it's very different experience when you identify yourself as a jellyfish, and very different from identifying with a surfer.
Yes, completely. Yes, you change identity.
Absolutely. And I also wanted to share and thank you, particularly for the porcupine metaphoric story, using it quite often with clients of mine who tend to give too much and don't have boundaries, for example.
Yes.
It's very useful.
It's fantastic, yes. It's to recognize the right distance and the right closeness. Not too strong, not too close, not too far apart. It's not so easy, but you can achieve it.
Yes, and in the story, in this metaphoric story, there are few attempts to find the right amount of space.
Yeah.
Which makes the suggestions that this is a process. It doesn't happen simultaneously.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
Yeah. I wanted to underline that I had several teachers who use a lot of metaphor, and I was absolutely fascinated. I was in love with those teachers, especially my first teacher were Norma Refin Barretta. It was 1983. I am grateful to them because they introduced me to Ericksonian psychotherapy. And then we became friends. And then one day told me, why don't you join the Ericksonian conference? So I say, why not? So I went for the first time in my life in Phoenix, Arizona in 85 to follow Ericksonian conferences, where I met David Gordon, all the best authors, and Steve Langton, Joyce Mills, Philip Barker, and I learned from them. So when I came back to Italy, I wanted to improve not only how to tell metaphors, but also how to create my metaphors. And this is why I wrote my first book in 2002. This is the Italian version, Gardner's
Princesses and
Porcupines. This is the Italian version, is 2002, and this is the English version, Metaphors for Personal and Professional.
Have this one.
Yes, this, and I am very proud because Alessandra Diaz and Rosanna Eriksson, the daughter of Milton Erickson, edited the English version. It was, for me, I learned how to create metaphors writing this book because I was concentrated in what I wanted to. So the question that you asked me is what makes a metaphor a story particularly affecting and stimulating a conscious process? Mm-hmm. Because the story in itself usually has a structure, and the structure is very similar to the journey of the hero. Sometimes you start with the problem, you have many difficulties, you think that you will not be able to achieve what you want to achieve. Then something happened and you discover that you have your own resources, that you are able to overcome the difficulties. Or sometimes you find a guardian angel, a sage, a friend who helps you. And at the end, you achieve your goal. This is a metaphor like a story, but you can also utilize this structure as a guided fantasy. The classical one is going to the top of a mountain. Yeah. So you prepare yourself to this journey to the top of the mountain, dressing in the right way, putting the right shoes so you don't slipper. And while you are going up, you find difficulties. And every time you find the resources that are in us, and at the end you celebrate your journey. But this can be also utilized. I utilize this on the contrary, with a patient of mine who was very proud because he achieved a very important for him success, and he said, okay, now I'm ready for another job. I say, no, stop for a while, let's do a work with us. And I asked him to be on top of the mountain because he had achieved his big success, and to look down to discover what he has done to achieve what he achieved. The learning process, the decision process, all the trial and error, the teachers, all what he learned, so that he can gain this knowledge. I achieved this because of that, because of that, because of that. And he was very thankful because he made some connection. He remembered many teachers, and since then he is organizing his new jobs in a different way because he's aware of his inner structure. So the metaphor are this power because they resonate within ourselves. They use because of the symbolism, because the story engage, because it's curious, because it's plenty, has a lot of images, concrete real person or archetypes, princess or king, because sometimes works also with the ambiguity, because sometimes we are full of ambiguity. Well, now, what do I want to do? Do I want to take this path? Do I want to do this path? Do I want to stay here? I cannot go back. What do I do now? So we work also with ambiguity, how to clear yourself, connecting with your inner, not will, but desire, not need, but deep inside. And also the structure of the narration is helping because gives the structure of life. We live in the present, it's true, we live in the present. We come from the past and we are going towards the future. The past is past, even though it's within us. If we want to learn something from the past, we stay in the present and we say to ourselves, what I've learned yesterday from that experience that can be helpful for tomorrow. And in the story, we can put all this process. This is what we do, underlying the post-traumatic growth, that you look from the present, not from the past. Not you don't have a regression, but you stay in the present with the resources of the present and say what I've learned from that trauma, so that I go towards the future with more awareness. Yeah.
That's again very empowering way of living your life.
Yeah. Yes.
And if I may share, I'm often using another of your metaphors, and it's a journey of the hero.
Yes.
And it was about the prince that wasn't ready to become the king. Yeah, do you remember?
Oh, yes.
Very powerful.
Tell, please, because I love it so much, that metaphors, yes. Yes, if you wanted to share with the audience, yes, do please.
It's a bit long, so I won't share it. But I believe that anyone that wants to know more about metaphors can buy your book
Thank you.
or join some of the workshops that you lead,
Okay.
including here in Bulgaria. It's been a pleasure.
Okay, thank you.
In your opinion, how can metaphoric storytelling be used beyond therapy, such as in education, for example, or work, leadership development, such things?
Yes, the porcupine of Schopenhauer is about that, yes. And of course, in education, because the language of the metaphor is so simple, wants to be so simple, and is full of cases, of also full of anecdotes of people that learn something. So concern the learning process, promote creativity, because it stimulates to do different things instead of repeating always the same pattern or the same mistakes. For instance, do you know the story of the 17 camels?
No,
Okay.
I don't believe I do.
Okay, I tell it because it's a way of stimulate your creativity. Mother died, and he has 17 camels, and he says that, and he has three sons. One son will have half of the camels. The second son will have 1/3 of the camels, and the third son will have 1/9 of the camel. The camel cannot be killed or for the division. So the three brothers doesn't know what to do because the number 17 cannot be
Doesn't divide.
divided. So one wise woman came with a camel and told them, I give you my camel. So now you have 18 camel. So 18 divided by 2 is 9. 18 divided by 3 is 6. 18 divided by 9 is 2. Sum of 9 plus 6 plus 2 is 17. So she has her camel back. So this is, for me, is an example of expanding your creativity. When you think, oh, this problem, we cannot solve this problem. No. Think about out of the box. What we need to put, change, so expand the creativity. In education, help with empathy, again with collaboration, inspire vision. What would you like to become? What is your dream? What you have in the closet that you want to share? What is your inner secret? In leadership, the ability to create a connection. In leadership, the ability to facilitating understanding the conflict resolution, not deciding, we cannot solve this conflict. No, negotiate. We help each other. We do this. We help each other because this is a value, and it's important to promote a common ground. We are human beings. We are not divided into race. No, race doesn't exist. We are only human being and we belong to the same species. It's important for goal settings. It's important for overcoming challenges. It's important also for celebrating success. I have another case that came to me and told me that he won 5,000 for his work, and he told me in a very humble way, like in a shy way, and he said, "Oh, you must be very happy because it's a great achievement." And I was so happy, and I say, "Oh, my congratulations, also your wife." And he said, "Why are you so happy?" And I say, "Well, it's a big achievement. It's a big achievement. How many employees do you have in your firm?" 2,000. Oh, so it's an important achievement, yours. And how many receive this achievement? Only 4. And you are not happy? And he told me, "Well, in my family, never celebrated anything."
Awful.
Yes.
Awful.
Empathy.
It's important to celebrate joy, share joy and success. It's a very important part of life.
Yes, and recognize your merit because you deserve it. You have been selected because you deserve it, because you made something special that not all the 2,000 people that are employed in the same firm. You are unique in this way.
Yeah, it has been recognized. I often encourage my clients to give credit for
Yes,
their
yes.
successes, and even small steps of success and improvement also deserve to give credit to themselves and say, "Good for me, well done."
Bravo.
And when you said you were talking about the metaphors that we can use in education, how to stimulate the students, you were asking them, "What's your secret? What's the secrets that you have?" And I realized when you said the word secrets that during your group hypnosis that you did here in Bulgaria during the workshop, your voice has stayed with me long after the hypnosis, because the moment you said secrets, I instantly thought nature has its secrets.
It's true, and you can have yours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was a phrase that you used in hypnosis then. Hmm. And can I ask you now about the male and female archetypes? Especially, can you elaborate a bit on the difference,
Yes.
the different male and female archetypes that you use?
The male archetypes are hero,
Hmm.
that represent courage, strength, resilience, embodies the qualities to overcome challenges and obstacles. The king symbolize leadership, authority, and wisdom, present the ideal ruler who governs with fairness and integrity, which is not so present now in this moment of our life. The warrior, which is associated with discipline, bravery, determination, spirit of battle and conquest. The sage represents wisdom, knowledge, and insight, truth, and a guide for others. And then the magician, the transformation, the creativity, the intuition, the power to manifest change. These are mainly the male archetypes. The female archetypes are many more, and I am very happy with that. We have the classic one, the mother, embodying nurturing, compassion, unconditional love, caretaking, and emotional support. The maiden, representing innocence, purity, new beginning, embodies youth, beauty, and full of potentiality. The witch, which is misunderstood, but symbolize a feminine power, intuition, and connection with the unseen realm. The femme fatale, of course, associated with seduction, mystery, allure, embodies sensuality, independence, and danger. And the wise woman, which is similar to the wise man, but the wise woman has more spiritual insight, drawing on years of experience and deep intuition. This is the most important. But if we go to Bolen and the goddesses inside the woman, we have Artemis, the god of hunt and the moon, sister, feminist, goal achiever, because she's a hunter. Athena, goddess of wisdom and crafts. She's a strategist, she's a warrior, she's a craft woman. Hestia, this is interesting because she is the anonymous woman, of the hearth, the temple. She is able to stay at home alone by herself and happy. These three goddesses are the goddesses that Jane Bolen called invulnerable. No one can harm them. The other three are Hera, goddess of marriage, the wife of Zeus, who betrayed her many times. Archetype of the wife, but the wife who suffers because her husband betrays her. Persephone is the maiden, and the queen of the underworld, the eternal girl, inner guide, which is the daughter of Demeter, the goddess of the mother, of the grain. And these are the goddess who suffer because they have pain from other person, husband, mother, or daughter. And the seventh goddess is Aphrodite, which is unique in herself because is the goddess of beauty, the goddess of love, of creativity, generativity, and the goddess of justice. But we have other goddesses. For instance, practical and intellectual wisdom is Metis, who she was able to change. She was the cunning ability. Goddess of mystical spiritual wisdom, Sophia. Goddess of intuitive and psychic wisdom, Hecate, which is at the fork of the road, and she has 3 roads.
Oh.
She can see where to go in 3 different parts, not like Giano Bifronte that can see in front and back. Hecate see the 3 roads that you can select. Hestia, again, I presented before. And we have healing laughter, which is Baubo. This is Baubo, which is not so known, but she is connected with is the goddess of healing laughter, because when Demeter was suffering because her daughter was raped brought her in the under the sea, under world, she was suffering. Baubo made her laughter, discovering her vagina. So, and Demeter laughter, and so her depression went away. So Babo is the old lady who is able to make laugh one who is depressed. And then the god of compassion, of course, because the female. So we have, then we have again Jane Bollen, another book of Jane Bollen. She talks about crown. Used to have a negative connotation because it's the old lady, ugly, like a witch. She said no. Crown is a woman who has wisdom, compassion, laughter, humor, courage, and vitality. And so this is, she said, crown as a sense of truly being herself, can express what she knows and feels and take action when she is necessary. Crowns don't whine, don't grovel. Crowns are juicy. Crowns improvise. Crowns have green thumb, laugh together, savor the good in their lives, trust what they know in their bones. It's another book on the bones. Okay, but and okay, that's it. Meditate, are fierce about what matters to them, choose the path with the heart, speak the truth with compassion, and she has learned to trust herself to know what she knows. As more as we grown up and become old, we age with grace and with the full potential. And you see, we have many more archetypes compared to men. Men are more in their patriarchal role.
How do you guide therapists to create and utilize metaphors that align with the Ericksonian principles?
Well, first thing is reading many books. Reading. Collect anecdotes. For collecting anecdotes, I mean when something happens to you that is teaching you something that you didn't know before, transform it as a metaphor. Because if it happened to you, it can happen to other person. And also listen careful to the metaphors that the patient use and develop them. Like the one of the backpack, like the one of the jellyfish. Play with words because we use many metaphorical words. You are a pearl, of course, is a metaphor. Your skin is like a pearl. Your beauty is like a pearl. It's a metaphor. So cultivate the pleasure of so this is another for me important book. Metaphor We Live is not a book on metaphorical therapeutic metaphors, but it helps to understand that in our language we have plenty of metaphors, and it teaches how to use them. The word, just do it.
Just do it. Yeah. Okay. Can you discuss the role of resilience in your work? How metaphors can empower clients to overcome difficulties and adversity?
2 books. One is Hope and Resiliency, which is my edit of the book of Dan Short, Hope and Resiliency. And this is 2005, 2004. And the other book on resilience is La forza della vulnerabilità, The Strengths of Vulnerability, utilizing resilience to overcome adversity. Of course, it's fundamental in our job. because resilience means getting up after you fell down. And resilience is the ability to overcome the difficulties, trusting on your ability, even though you're not aware of the ability that you already have. But resilience is hoping in a different future. Resilience is the ability to look for help, to ask, can you help me, please? I need your help now. Resilience is something that can connect us with the world of possibility and with the world of hope. I like very much the original title, Hope and Resiliency, because hope is not only a virtue, but only a revolutionary position, because you really have faith that you can change the world. And resilience is if something bad happened to me or to other person, I can learn from it, and I can develop, and I can empower from not being afraid of recognizing our vulnerability, but our vulnerability can be transformed into an empowering, like the athlete of Paralympics. They have a resilience. They are resilient examples how they can cope with their body, which is not so perfect like an athlete. Now they are Paralympic athletes. They are athletes in the real world.
And I can add to this also developing an ability to be resourceful, to find resources, find new ones.
Yes, be
realize
flexible.
Those ones.
Yes, be flexible. If you don't succeed once, you can try again and try again, and try always different thing. If it doesn't work, doesn't work. Do something new, change it. A sentence that I like is, what is the smallest change that you can do that doesn't cost anything? The smallest. Start with that. Yeah.
I remember you sharing this. So for the finale of our conversation, I just wanted to ask you if you want to share with us, what do you dream about these days?
Wow, peace, peace, and peace.
Peace.
Peace, peace, and peace. Peace. Yes, sometimes I'm so sorry, so sad when I see all this war, not only this big two that are showing in the television, the Ukraine now in Israel, but we are brothers, we are sisters, we are connected, we are human beings. If you harm another person, you are harming yourself. So my dream is that the feminine mothers, the compassion, the feminine wisdom on the feminism, the womanhood, the sisterhood become the real strength, and recognizing that each of us has his or her own value to be respected and admired. And the more old I become, the more I would like to be a revolutionary in sending these messages. Please, let's help each other. Be connected. Respect each other. Be kind. Be generous. Be compassionate. This is my dream. be loved.
Yes.
Yes. This is why
Thank you,
I like
Dr.
so
Kasula.
many metaphors that have a happy ending. Yeah.
Yes. Tears from happy ending.
Yes.
I remember that.
Yes.
Dr. Kasula, it was a big inspiration, a pleasure. I really thank you for this conversation.
Thank you very much for the interesting questions. I thank you very much. Thank you very much.
It was wonderful.
Yes, thank you.
And thank all the people that are listening for joining us in this insightful conversation with Dr. Consuelо Kasula. Her expertise and wisdom have offered us valuable perspectives on hypnotherapy, metaphors, resilience, the transformative power of inner resources and femininity also.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Ciao. Thank you.